Honey, I'm just thinking about you. Send me a message. People speak of waiting as if it is a hollow thing, a pause, a holding pattern, a life put on mute. But loving you has taught me otherwise. Waiting has a shape, it has weight, it has meaning. It looks like waking up and reaching for a phone instead of a hand, not because it is enough, but because it is what bridges us. It sounds like your voice arriving through distance, threading warmth into my day with nothing but words and intention. Waiting is choosing you in a thousand quiet ways that no one else sees. It is defending us against doubt on tired nights. It is believing in a future I cannot yet touch but already trust. Some days the space between us feels gentle, a soft stretch of time that promises reunion. Other days it aches, settling into my ribs like a question without an answer. I would be lying if I said it never hurts. There are moments when I imagine how easily things could be if our lives were folded closer together. If love did not have to navigate screens and schedules, time zones, and longing. There are moments when I crave the simplest things: your presence without permission, your laughter without delay, your silence beside mine without explanation. And yet, even in those moments, I do not regret you, because the ache is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of depth. I am not waiting because I lack options. I am waiting because my heart has already made its choice. You have become part of my daily rhythm, not an interruption, but a constant. I carry you through ordinary moments, while making coffee, while walking through familiar streets, while lying awake at night, listening to the world breathe. You are there in the way I pause before making plans, in the way I imagine your reaction before I speak. You exist in the future tense of my thoughts, woven so naturally that removing you would tear the fabric of my days. Waiting, I've learned, is an act of faith. It is trusting that love is not diminished by distance, that connection does not weaken when it is stretched. If anything, it reveals its strength. Before you, time was something I passed a hallway I walked through without looking at the walls, a clock I obeyed but never listened to. Then you arrived, and suddenly every second leaned forward as if the future itself was curious about you. When I think of you, I don't think about distance. I don't imagine maps or miles or borders drawn in ink. I think about luck, the kind that doesn't shout, the kind that settles gently into your chest and says, "This is rare. Don't rush it," because somehow, impossibly, in a world crowded with almost and maybes, I found someone worth waiting for. You did not enter my life like a storm. You arrived like gravity, quiet, inevitable, changing the way everything moved without ever asking for permission. At first, it was small, a feeling I tried not to name. A warmth I told myself was temporary. I have learned to be careful with hope. I have learned how quickly dreams can bruise. So I held back. I smiled cautiously. I pretended my heart wasn't already leaning in your direction. But hearts are terrible liars. They recognize home long before the mind allows it. I began to notice how your absence felt heavier than your presence, how days without you moved slower, as if time itself was reluctant to pass without your voice inside it. I realized I was measuring my days not by sunrises or sleep, but by moments shared, a message, a laugh, the quiet understanding between sentences. And still there was distance, still there was waiting, still there was the long stretch of uncertainty that tries to scare people away from love. But love, real love, is not frightened by space. It does not panic at patience. It understands that some things are not meant to arrive quickly, only truly. I thought about all the ways this could be difficult, all the reasons to step back, all the warnings whispered by fear. And yet, every time I imagined a future without you, it felt like choosing a smaller life on purpose. So I stayed. I stayed when it would have been easier to turn longing into a closed door. I stayed when the nights stretched wide and your arms were not there to prove that I was not alone. I stayed because something in my soul recognized something in yours and refused to let go. You became my heart without ever asking for it, not because you claimed it, but because you cared for it as if it were already yours. You became my soul not through grand promises, but through presence, through the way you listened, the way you saw me even when I tried to hide. You saw the parts of me that are tired of being strong, the parts that have waited before and been disappointed. And instead of turning away, you stayed gentle. That is how I knew, not in fireworks, not in declarations, but in the quiet certainty that grew every time I thought of you and felt peace instead of fear. Every day apart, they say, is distance